December 1945. The cliffs above a bend of the Nile near a town called Hammadi. A farmer is digging for fertilizer when his blade strikes something that is not stone, a sealed clay jar, almost the height of his arm. And he hesitates because in his village they say spirits live in old jars, and a man who breaks one sets something loose. He breaks it anyway, and something golden rises in the morning light, not smoke, fragments, flakes of ancient papyrus, catching the sun like sparks. He was afraid a spirit lived in the jar. He was right, just not the kind he feared. Inside were 13 books, and within them a prophecy that was supposed to have died 16 centuries earlier, the prophecy of her return. The old teachers said the world's long night would unfold like any night in watches, the watch of the fall, the watch of the burying, the watch of the silence, and the watch of the dawn. Tonight I will walk you through all four, and I will show you why the texts and the strange arithmetic of history say that you and I are alive inside the fourth watch, the last one, the one with your name in it. Stay with me to the dawn. The night is old, friend of the light, but the light is older. If this is your first vigil here, Sophia is wisdom herself, the feminine presence the earliest believers knew by name, edited out of the book on your shelf 17 centuries ago. Tonight we read what the editors buried. And before anything else, the part you can verify with your own hands tonight. The jar is documented, December 1945, Nag Hammadi, Upper Egypt, 13 codices, now photographed, translated, public. And the prophecy's central book survived by a second road entirely, a manuscript called the Askew Codex, sitting in the British Library since 1785, holding the Pistis Sophia, the record of her fall into the chaos, and her 13 songs of return, 13 books in the jar, 13 songs in the codex. Type the words Pistis Sophia 13 repentances into any search engine tonight. Read it yourself. This is not folklore. It is shelf-marked. Now, the first watch. Forget the paintings of a rebel angel. The texts describe something every mother in this vigil will recognize. They say Sophia fell because she looked down at what she had helped to make this world, these creatures, this struggling, spark-filled mud, and she loved it past the boundary of safety. She leaned out of the light toward what she loved, and the leaning became a falling. She did not fall like a stone falls. She fell like a mother falls toward the child, not away from the height. You know this physics. Every woman who gave past her own edges knows it. Every one of you who poured light into people who could only spill it, you did not fail. You loved in a direction the world calls down. And here is the first thing the prophecy establishes, the foundation everything else stands on. A fall that begins in love is not a verdict. It is a trajectory, and trajectories can be reversed. If that landed somewhere true in you, leave 2 words in the comments below. I'm listening, not for me, for the road. The comments under a vigil are footprints. The ones walking behind you in the dark see them and know the path goes somewhere. Your 2 words may carry a stranger to the dawn. And if the first watch already named something you have carried for years, you should know the whole map exists. The ancient code is the complete teaching of her descent and her return, 5 private master classes, the printed dossier you can hold in your hands like the books from the jar, and the meditation series that turns the words into practice. The doorway is in the description below this vigil. It opens whenever you are ready. Because the fall was only the first watch. What men did next is the second, and unlike the fall, the second watch has dates. The year 367, Alexandria, Egypt. The most powerful bishop in the world, Athanasius, sends his Easter letter to every monastery in the land, and this letter is not about Easter. It is a list, 27 books that may be kept. And an order for everything else, the hidden books, the books where she speaks out, destroyed. We still have the letter. That is the strange mercy of empires. They keep receipts. And in a monastery under those cliffs near Nag Hammadi, someone read the order and disobeyed it beautifully. Some monk nameless forever gathered 13 volumes, sealed them in a jar the way you seal a seed, carried them out under the stars, and gave them to the ground. Think about what he believed that night with the shovel in his hands. He believed the desert was more faithful than the church of his own day. He was right. The second watch closed over the books like water. Above the buried jar, Rome fell. Empires redrew the world and erased themselves. Cathedrals rose, plagues passed. The printing press, the ships, the wars, 16 centuries of thunder. And under all of it, silence, sand, and a sealed jar keeping watch. And here, the whole story turns over because for years I read the burying as the tragedy, the villains winning the second watch. Read it again, slowly. If the books had stayed on the shelves, the next decree would have burned them. If they had been copied openly, the copies would have been hunted. The only place on earth those words could survive 16 centuries of empire was the dark. The burial did not interrupt the prophecy. The burial delivered it. The men with the decrees thought they were digging a grave, they were loading a vessel. Every hand that pushed her down became, without knowing it, a hand that carried her forward. The enemies were enrolled as couriers. And if that is how the light treats its defeats, what do you think it is doing with yours? This is the point in the vigil where most people feel the floor change when the story stops being history and starts being a mirror. If you want to go all the way through that mirror, the ancient code was built for it. The buried teachings opened line by line, the dossier, the meditations that make it livable. The link is below, and it will still be there at dawn. But mirrors, I have learned, do not like to wait. The third watch is the longest, and it is the one you were born inside. 16 centuries where her name survives only in cracks. In the grammar, no one checks wisdom. In the old tongues, was always she. In a voice that surfaces in one buried poem, refusing every box the world builds. I am the first and the last. I am the honored one and the scorned one. A voice that would not choose between the two faces. The world allows a woman, so the world chose silence for her instead. And in the silence, generation after generation of women felt what you have felt, a homesickness with no address. A certainty that something essential had been removed from the story before they arrived. The way you can tell a page has been torn from a book by the way the sentence stumbles. You were never imagining the missing page. You were the kind of reader who notices. But here is what the old watchmen knew about silence. Keeping their vigils on the city walls, the night is not one darkness. It has seasons. And the deepest, stillest, most hopeless feeling hour of the entire night is the one directly before the light. One thing before the fourth watch. Noticing the missing page is a gift. Living with the restored page is a practice. That is why the ancient code includes the complete meditation series alongside the master classes and the dossier, because what you will hear in the next few minutes should not stay information. It should become breath. If you have been a reader for years and want to become a practitioner, the description below is the door. December 1945. We are back at the jar, but now you know what you are looking at. The very season the world had just seen how dark the night could get. The ground opened its hand and gave the books back. Not to a council, not to a throne, to a farmer afraid of spirits. And from his hands, through translators and scholars and 60 years of quiet work, to a glowing screen in your house, tonight, in the one century where a voice could reach every window on earth at once. The rooster crowed in 1945. The fourth watch had begun. And here is what the prophecy actually says about the dawn, the detail the second watchmen feared most. It gives no date, it gives a mechanism. The return does not happen above the world, on clouds, all at once. The old hymn from the jar says she comes down into the prison itself, calling, and whoever hears rises. The dawn does not arrive in the sky, friend of the light. It arrives in windows, one lit window at a time. The prophecy is not waiting for a date. It has been waiting for glass, for souls clear enough to let the light through into one more house, one more street, one more sleeping town. You did not find this vigil. Your window was found. And every strange year of your life, the homesickness, the noticing, the love that fell downward, and the long silence after every one of those years was the polishing. If tonight you understood, maybe for the first time, what all those years were for, do not let it end as a video you once watched. The ancient code is the whole map of the descent and the return, in your hands. 5 masterclasses, the printed dossier, the meditation series that does the polishing. Not another fragment. The map. The doorway is below this vigil, and it is open tonight. Before the screen goes dark, you're part of the vigil, and it is small. Tonight, before you sleep, stand for 10 seconds at any window in your house. You do not have to say anything to anyone. Just stand in it the way glass stands in a frame and let one thought pass through you. The 4th watch is mine. That is all. That is how watchmen have always done it. One window, one watch, one light at a time. And if you walk the whole night with me, all 4 watches leave 3 words below for the one still in the 3rd. I kept watch. Somewhere tonight, someone is at the silence, deciding whether the story goes anywhere. They will see your 3 words. They will stay for the dawn. One warning before you go. The old texts say something happens when a window lights up in a dark street. Things notice. The next vigil opens the 3 checkpoints every awakened soul is made to pass, and the exact words the buried gospels left for each one. If this vigil found your window, subscribe to OmniSoul so the next one finds it too. The night is old, the light is older. Keep watch.